Hi friends, I'm Tina. Welcome back to Whispering Cottage Home. Today, we're stepping into a vintage afternoon tea room filled with cottage china, pretty linens, garden flowers, and that old-fashioned grace so many of us still love. And this isn't just about setting out a few teacups. By the end of our visit, you'll have simple decorating ideas you can use in your own dining room, breakfast nook, sunroom, or even a quiet corner of the kitchen. We'll talk about how to display old china without making a room feel crowded, how to use linens to soften a table, how garden flowers can change the whole mood, and how little heirloom pieces can make a tea room feel personal and cared for. Before we begin, I'd love to know, do you have an old kitchen treasure? Maybe a teacup, a cake plate, a linen napkin, or a little serving piece that still makes you smile when you bring it out? A vintage tea room begins with one clear focal point, and most often that is the table. It doesn't have to be large or expensive. A round oak table, a painted farmhouse table, or even a small drop-leaf table can become the center of the whole room when it is styled with care. For a cottage look, begin with a simple table covering. A soft white cotton cloth, a faded floral tablecloth, or a set of embroidered placemats can make the table feel special without making it feel fussy. If you have family linens tucked away in a drawer, this is the perfect place to use them. Even one runner down the middle can give the room a gentle afternoon tea feeling. A practical styling tip is to keep the center low enough for conversation. Instead of a tall arrangement, try a low bowl of garden flowers, a small glass vase with roses, or a simple cream pitcher filled with sweet peas, daisies, or lavender. Then add just a few pieces of china around it. Cups, saucers, a sugar bowl, and maybe a small plate for cookies or lemon slices. This is one of those easy home decor ideas that feels like a little kitchen makeover without painting walls or buying new furniture. You're simply using what you already have in a more thoughtful way. And isn't that how many of our mothers and grandmothers made a house feel welcoming? Now that the table has its heart, let's look at the pieces that make it feel collected, not cluttered. Cottage china is one of the sweetest ways to bring vintage home decor into a tea room. It might be blue and white plates, soft floral teacups, old creamware, transferware, or a mismatched set gathered over time. The key is not to display every single piece at once. Choose a simple color story. Maybe your room leans towards soft blue, cream, and garden green. Or maybe you love faded rose, butter, yellow, and ivory. When the colors speak to one another, mismatched china feels intentional. A lovely visual example would be 3 floral teacups on a small tray, a stack of dessert plates on a sideboard, and 1 pretty teapot placed where the eye naturally lands. You could also hang a few plates above a tea cart or cabinet, leaving enough wall space around them so each piece can be appreciated. Here's a practical tip. Group china in odd numbers and vary the heights. Place a teacup on a saucer, set a small plate behind it, and add a folded napkin or tiny spoon beside it. This gives the display dimension without making it feel busy. When you're shopping at flea markets or estate sales, look for pieces that are clean, intact, and useful. A single teacup can hold sugar cubes. A small saucer can catch a tea bag. A pretty bread plate can hold a few cookies. Vintage farmhouse style is at its best when the pieces are loved and used, not just lined up like a museum shelf. And once the china is chosen, the room needs softness. That's where linens come in. Linens can change the feeling of a tea room faster than almost anything else. A plain table becomes graceful with a lace-edged runner. A wooden chair feels sweeter with a simple cushion. A tea tray looks finished when it rests on a small embroidered cloth. For this kind of cottage style, you don't need everything to match. In fact, a little variety feels more personal. Try white napkins with blue stitching, a faded floral cloth with cream dishes, or checked cotton curtains beside a small tea table. A practical home organization tip is to keep your tea linens together in one drawer, basket, or cabinet shelf. Fold napkins neatly, roll runners loosely, and place small cloths where you can actually reach them. When pretty things are easy to use, they become part of everyday homemaking instead of being saved forever. If your room is small, linens are also one of the best affordable home upgrades. A new curtain panel, a clean table runner, or fresh chair cushions can refresh the whole space without a major home renovation. For small kitchen ideas, even a narrow cafe curtain near a breakfast table can give that farmhouse kitchen feeling without taking up any extra room. There is something tender about using old linens. Maybe they remind us of Sunday dinners, church luncheons, bridal showers, or afternoons when someone took the time to set the table just because company was coming. And speaking of company, let's bring in the flowers that make the room feel alive. Garden flowers are one of the prettiest parts of an afternoon tea room, but they work best when they feel easy and natural. You don't need a grand florist arrangement. A few stems from the yard, a grocery store bouquet divided into small vases, or a single flowering branch can be enough. For spring and summer, think of roses, violets, daisies, sweet peas, snapdragons, lavender or zinnias. For late summer, small sunflowers and garden greenery can feel cheerful. In cooler months, try dried lavender, rosemary, small mums, or even a bowl of apples with a few leaves tucked in. A good styling tip is to repeat the flower colour in one other place. If you have pale pink roses on the table, use a rose-coloured napkin or a teacup with pink blossoms. If your flowers are yellow, add a butter yellow plate or a small gingham cloth. This is a simple interior design trick that makes a room feel pulled together. Around the middle of our visit, I'd love to hear from you. If you were setting a little afternoon tea table, would you choose roses, daisies, lavender, or another favourite flower from your garden? Flowers remind us that a home doesn't have to be perfect to feel cared for. Sometimes one jar of cut blooms can say, "Someone here took a little time today." Now, let's add a few useful pieces that make the room work for real life. A tea room should be lovely, But it also needs to be practical. That is where vintage storage can be so helpful. A small china cabinet, a painted hutch, a teak hut, a narrow bookshelf, or even a wall shelf can hold your cups, linens, trays, and serving pieces. If you have a farmhouse kitchen or dining corner, a little open shelf can become a beautiful storage solution. Place the heavier dishes on the bottom, cups and saucers at eye level, and light decorative pieces near the top. Keep the everyday tea things easiest to reach. For kitchen storage, trays are wonderful. A wooden tray can hold your teapot, cups, sugar bowl, and napkins. When you want to serve tea, everything is already gathered. When you're finished, the tray goes right back to the shelf or sideboard. The trick is to leave breathing room. Not every shelf has to be full. A stack of plates, a teacup, a small vase, and one framed family recipe card can say more than a crowded cabinet packed from edge to edge. This is also a lovely way to honour heirlooms. A grandmother's creamer, an aunt's embroidered cloth, or a mother's dessert plate can be part of your decorating without feeling fragile or forgotten. That is the heart of farmhouse decor, useful things with memory. And once the storage is in place, we can finish the room with light and comfort. The final layer of a vintage afternoon tea room is the feeling of welcome. Look at the light first. Open the curtains, polish the window glass, and let the table sit near natural light if you can. A small lamp on a sideboard can add a gentle glow later in the day. For seating, you don't need a matched set. A pair of painted chairs, a cushioned bench, or a mix of old wooden chairs can feel very cottage when the colours and fabrics are calm. Add one seat cushion, a folded throw nearby, or a small pillow in a floral or checked fabric. Then create one little moment that invites someone to sit down. Maybe it's a cup and saucer waiting on a tray. Maybe it's a plate of shortbread, a small book of recipes, or a handwritten note tucked beside the teapot. These decorating ideas are small, but they make a room feel loved. They remind us that home improvement is not always about big projects. Sometimes it is about making one corner of the house feel more gracious, more useful, and more connected to the people who came before us. So as you look around your own home, maybe there is a little table, a cupboard shelf, or a sunny window that could become your own afternoon tea spot. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me today. If you enjoyed this visit, please give the video a like, subscribe to Whispering Cottage Home, and leave me a comment telling me what vintage piece you would place on your tea table first. I always love hearing your memories and your decorating ideas. Until next time, friends, may your home feel cared for, your table feel welcoming, and your old treasures continue to bring joy.